Sapien is a way for anyone in the world to make a living wage or more by producing data in a fun and gamified way. We're kind of like inventing a new type of gig work almost. So you can drive an Uber, maybe eventually you won't be able to because the self-driving cars will do it. But we see the next decade or more where humans become more and more valuable, especially certain types of human skills. Like right now, any human, even if you don't speak English or have any skills, can earn a minimum of $5 an hour in most cases, which is kind of cool. That's like the living wage in most of the world. So we can like literally eliminate poverty with this new type of gig work where you don't need to buy a car to be able to drive an Uber. If you don't have one, what do you do?
What's one piece of key advice you would give to someone listening to who has an idea and is eager to start building something?
Use AI to build AI and
Welcome to the channel Cut the Noise. So I have this audience who is always willing to learn more about new Web3 projects and also learn about what is the journey for every person who is involved into this space. As we are already connected for many years now, I thought it would be a great start because I just started my channel last month and I wanted to bring some serious people who are building in this ecosystem for quite a while. And I would say it won't be a better start than you because I've been watching you for many years. So welcome to this channel and thank you for joining to this show.
Thank you. Excited to be here. It's great to see you in person and connect again online.
Great. So, Trevor, if I start this podcast by asking you about your background first, like how your career started, I was looking upon your career, like you started as a professional athlete and how that journey went through and what was your experience as an athlete and how this dramatic turn happened into your athlete career and you suddenly decided to become an entrepreneur. Can you please share about that experience?
Yeah, totally. It was quite a journey of not a lot of planning, just a lot of organic evolution based on my curiosity. And I started out being very interested in high-level competitive sports, especially hockey. And that took me to being obsessed with it and eventually getting drafted to the New York Rangers in 2005. And I learned a lot from that experience, even though I had a abrupt ending to my career from a car accident. I learned a lot of skills that I didn't appreciate early on in my career, but later on, I appreciate things like discipline and just like little things and how competitive the top of the food chain is. So you really have to be dedicated and serious. So things like that, teamwork as well. But then I got into tech. That was kind of my next transition. I was still young in my early 20s, so I think it was a good time for me to transition. And I think tech was perfect for me because it was super. I went back to school and I was going to do a more corporate job, but I just didn't feel like a natural thing for me. So moved to Silicon Valley, started learning how to be a founder, and by being a founder, and that led me to what I'm doing now. But there's a lot of ups and downs in that journey. I sold a company in 2015, which was kind of a nice win. I think it's important to get a few small wins early on in your career. And at the time, it felt like a big win. But I got into crypto as well. And that was kind of an extension of tech. I was very early. I kind of treated them as independent. So I was a very big blockchain user and just did a lot of research into it. There wasn't a lot of professional things to do there back then, but I got very interested in it. And eventually I started a project called Polymath. That was kind of my first Web3 company. I was inspired by Ethereum, and being in Toronto, that was a really exciting project. And I was very lucky to be early in that community just as a supporter and as a member of the community. And then I launched my own project. And then to this day, that project has been kind of at the forefront of tokenization and real world assets. And we've evolved a lot as well. But that was a really fun project for me. And currently I'm working on a project called Sapien. So that's my new passion. I ran Polymath for about 6 years and recently transitioned to a really good management team who's now in the process of taking it public, which is something I'm really proud of. And then it freed me up to focus on a new early stage project about a year or two ago. And that's kind of currently what I'm working on now is Sapien.
Interesting, interesting. So, what was the year when you actually got into the crypto? Was this before Ethereum that started, or it was just around the same time, 2013, 14 time?
Yeah, it was before. I bought my first Bitcoin in 2012 on eBay. I remember it was a $20 purchase in November of 2012, I believe. And it was crazy. They like sent you the private key in an email or something, and there wasn't a lot of infrastructure and off ramps and on ramps back then. But and even before then, I was involved a little bit, just like reading the Bitcoin white paper and going to the early Bitcoin events. The first one I think was in San Jose ever, and then they started doing more. And then I call it the pre-Ethereum era.
Yeah.
And then Ethereum came along, and that kind of ushered in a new era of altcoins and smart contract competitors. And now who knows what we're in? We're in kind of the post-Ethereum world in some sense.
Correct, 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 correct. And like when you talk about that, you started Polymath, that was pioneer into real world asset tokenization, and like now we see that everybody's talking about real world asset tokenization, and when you started, nobody was talking about that. And do you think that timing matters a lot in this case? Like now, if you would have started this now versus when you started that before?
Yeah, it was a long, people may not know this today, but there was a long kind of journey in the frozen wilderness for RWA. So a lot of the leaders now in the space, like Polymath, like Securitize, like TokenSoft, like we can all share the war stories of just not, it was kind of a mix of the traditional tier one VCs didn't get excited about it in crypto. The Wall Street people were too scared of it, and
they're still scared.
So yeah, and so there's a lot of factors, but but we always believed, like we thought it was inevitable. We saw this arc of tokenization of real world assets, starting with protocols, I guess that's more digital, like Bitcoin and Ethereum are tokenized. The token is kind of separate from the blockchain. So that was the first thing. And then we started seeing other things like, other digital things like NFTs. That's kind of like a sort of a semi real world asset. And then we got into cash. That's a very real world asset, like tokenizing cash, like 80% RWA.
True.
And now we're seeing the next one is money market funds. And that's even bigger and more exciting. Right. And then I think the next one, commodities, will be bigger and more exciting. So, and then securities, real estate, and so on. So I think we're on that track of the world being tokenized. A lot of really credible people like Larry Fink are echoing this and excited about it. And I think it's still so early. It's so early in crypto. It's still even earlier in RWA. There's so much green space and blue sky to lay a stake. Where in the stack do you want to be? Do you want to be in the base layer on the L1? Do you want to be at the regulatory issuance layer? Do you want to be at the exchange layer? So there's a lot of things. There's a lot of people who don't even have theses on this, let alone are investing on it or building on it. So still super early, still super exciting. I think it is going to be the place to be. It's kind of a mix of Silicon Valley and Wall Street and just global crypto is all kind of coming together. And I think this could be bigger than anything, even bigger than dare I say AI. If every asset goes on chain, I think that could unlock even more value than AI.
Interesting, interesting. So this comes to the next question. Like, if we talk about Sapien, right? How did this idea came to your mind, and what problem were you actually looking to solve, particularly at the intersection of AI and Web3?
And yeah, so Sapien is my passion now, and I'm just so excited about the convergence of AI and crypto, and especially on the data side. That to me is like the next unlock for these models is going to be who has access to better and higher quantities of frontier data. So high quality virgin data that hasn't been trained on. Everybody is going to try to have an edge there. Everyone's going to have a strategy to say, hey, we're going to license someone else's data. We're going to create our own data. We're going to tap into our existing data sets and repositories. And so I'm very, very excited about thinking about how data, how to unlock more data, high quality data. That's really what it comes down to. It's kind of like a foundry, right? Like NVIDIA unlocks chips and compute, and they do it through a foundry. They literally, I don't think they're the foundry technically. I think that's TSMC, but you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's like the chip foundry dynamic, and then there's the data foundry. And there's not a lot of data foundry. Like a lot of people are just kind of like scraping existing data on the internet that's already been trained on multiple times by everybody. And then companies like Scale AI are a really incredible data foundry. I think that's how they describe themselves as well. And so that's a good beginning to more data being available and better quality data through structuring. And so we're just trying to like take the next step above that to make it totally permissionless, totally global, and produce even more data than was thought possible through decentralization. And so that's kind of where the passion came from. I had some friends that were machine learning students at the University of Waterloo that really helped me define this thesis. And also, I got to know folks like the co-founder of Scale AI, one of them. And the more I learn about it and the more I build in this space, the more excited I am about real unlockable value being accrued by companies in Web3 using the demand from what AI has created.
So, I mean, if we simply talk about this in a very simple layman terms, how will you explain this to maybe 10-year-old child, or maybe a 50-year-old person, like what Sapien is doing and how they can think that they can be part of this revolution?
Yeah, earn rewards by producing data in a fun, gamified way. So we think this is actually very profound, because if there's an unlimited demand for data and there's money behind that demand, so people will pay other people, and by people I mean large enterprises or people who are foundational model decision makers. They're looking for more data, and they're looking for humans. Like, that's another key point here, is that human data is the highest quality data because it's ground truth data. And you don't want necessarily just synthetic bots creating data. You want real, because humans are your end users of AI primarily today. And so it makes sense that humans are the ones that are feeding the data into these models. And so companies like Scale AI pioneered industrial scale RLHF, which is like a reinforcement learning technique using humans to fine tune and structure data sets before training. And so to answer your question, that's not the 5-year-old answer. I would say Sapien is a way for anyone in the world to make a living wage or more by producing data in a fun and gamified way. So we're kind of like a marketplace where companies who need data can put liquidity on the network, and then humans who have time but are looking for payment or looking for something to do on the evenings and weekends to supplement their income, they can just tap into that demand. And we have like kind of a routing engine and an interface in the middle that makes it a fun, gamified way to produce data for these companies.
Okay, so is it something very similar to data labeling or data annotations that we hear from that people participate in these data annotations? They solve certain problems or they answer certain questions, something similar to that?
Yeah, think of like CAPTCHA or Mechanical Turk. And we're kind of doing that in the post AI world where the data sets are more rich, they're more robust, there's different modalities, there's different data formats. So it's kind of like CAPTCHAs on steroids, and you also get paid. So it's like more rich and interactive, but it's also more lucrative. So we're kind of like inventing a new type of gig work almost. So you can drive an Uber, maybe eventually you won't be able to because the self-driving cars will do it. But we see the next decade or more where humans become more and more valuable, especially certain types of human skills. Like right now, any human, even if you don't speak English or have any skills, can earn a minimum of $5 an hour in most cases, which is kind of cool. That's like the living wage in most of the world. So we can like literally eliminate poverty with this new type of gig work where you don't need to buy a car to be able to drive an Uber. If you don't have one, what do you do? So that's part of it. But the other part of it is, if you are skilled, if you do have demanded knowledge and a more verticalized subject like medicine or law or anything of that nature, you can earn a lot more. You can earn, hundreds of dollars an hour. We've had customers who are pancreatic cancer researchers who pay, who got us to bootstrap a network of radiologists who get hundreds of dollars an hour. So it's kind of a free market for skills, and we're all contributing to make these AIs better. And we've realized that the better these models get, the more new and interesting use cases and demands are needed. So it used to be a lot of self-driving car stuff, and even when some of that stuff gets automated, there's like 10 times more new verticals that these models need help with. So it's kind of like the internet, right? Like it eliminated some jobs, but it created like hundreds of X more types of jobs as well.
Very interesting. So it's like when we say that AI is eating up the jobs, or it's going to take away a lot of jobs. I believe your approach or this data labeling will enable and produce a lot more jobs for the normal people, which they are afraid that their jobs might get replaced by AI, right?
Exactly, and I think it's going to empower people to level up. So if you're a truck driver, we're all leveling up, right? So if you're a truck driver, maybe you can use AI to build your own agentic routing service for self-driving trucks or something. Like that's a wild example, but there's lots of ways, you can use AI to level up and make your time more magnified, which I think is exciting. People now, instead of just running, one side hustle, they can run several, and now it's more human. You're not doing like the remote robotic stuff. AI is doing that, so it's more creative and tasteful things that I feel is more fulfilling. So I think it's a good bright future.
Interesting. And so, what is the permissionless angle in this case? Like when you say that Web3 is involved in this case, can you explain more on those lines? Like, is it just in terms of distributing the rewards to the users in crypto, or there is also an angle on the core architecture level for the protocol?
Yeah, the big one for us is the human distribution. So that's part one of decentralization, just having, instead of just one network of humans, a lot of data labeling happens in person in physical locations for many reasons, primarily quality assurance. So to make sure humans are doing high quality data production, you need other humans to like manage them. So you put them all in one kind of physical location. So number one for us is like inventing new technology where QA is done in a more automated way. And that unlocks the ability for people to work from home, basically, and not needing to be in a physical location, which means now you can work for 5 minutes on your Android phone at a bus stop, or you can do it as like your full-time job at the same time. So that's a key component to this. And the unlock on how to do that is also on chain. Like we need to do consensus style mechanism design to ensure people who are acting in their own best interests are also producing good quality work. So what that means is we have like features like staking and slashing QA, which uses positive reinforcement to encourage people to do high quality work. And it kind of results in an end product that's just better in every way than the traditional model, where it's cheaper for the paying customer, like the enterprise looking for data. It's cheaper. It's more lucrative for the human. And it's just an all-around better experience for it's kind of like Uber. It's like cheaper for the passenger. The driver makes more than a taxi car driver. How's that possible, right? By eliminating the middleman, by being distributed. Like it's just a better model. So we're trying to bring that to AI data. We think it's the biggest and fastest growing part of AI very soon. And yeah, we think this is an amazing, exciting use case of Web3 organically. We didn't start out in Web3. We actually evolved there naturally due to real world demand, which I think a lot of projects struggle with.
Interesting. So, I mean, I was looking at that. I think your protocol is built on base blockchain, right? And are you also using any other protocols alongside for this slashing, like this for this slashing feature as well? Like
Base is
Icon?
our base, and we're very excited about them and how helpful they've been. In the future, we may expand different offerings, but we have no immediate plans right now. We're focused on our initial launch, and we're really excited about this.
Okay. So, how people can actually try this product, and can you also explain the gamified experience of this protocol? Like, why did you decide to gamify this experience for these people?
Yeah, gamification is all about engagement, and you know, if we want people to produce what the output we want, which is high quality data, we need them to stay engaged. It's a voluntary job. No one's on salary here. And so the gamification is just strictly to make it more engaging and more fun. And that hopefully brings and keeps users in our ecosystem.
On the slashing side, are you using eigen layer or something like that when you're trying to slash or penalize the bad users who are going to misuse this protocol?
Yeah. Shriram's amazing guy and really an inspiration as well. I've got to know him a little bit on the circuit. And we're definitely interested in exploring ways to work together with folks like that in the restaking land and other kind of primitives within the Ethereum ecosystem. Yeah, and I remember your first question now. How to get involved? Game.sapien.io. So that's our landing page. So you can actually sign up and start earning rewards immediately. And that's we just crossed 1 million users. I don't think we haven't announced it yet. So that was yesterday. We're already at like 1.1 million. So we've had really, really parabolic growth. You can probably see I'm a little sleep deprived.
Yeah, I can see that.
Good problems. But we're still like not even 1/100th of where we want to be. So a lot of work ahead.
That comes to my, I would say, next question quickly. Like, what's one piece of key advice you would give to someone listening to who has an idea and is eager to start building something, especially in this new tech frontiers?
Use AI to build AI and try to be a one man or a woman $1 billion startup, because see how far you can take it. Build a product quickly. There's no excuse now. AI makes MVPs. There's literally no excuse. Like MVP doesn't mean you're going to get product market fit, but you can't have an excuse to build an MVP. So go look for problems that are real and verticals that you have some experience in, or at least you're interested in, and then go just build. Use AI to build AI, and then just use the superpower that even old millennials like me are late to the game in some ways, but the younger generation that are AI native, it's just going to be hard to compete with.
Absolutely, I totally agree with that. And just wrapping up to this podcast. Thanks a lot again, for coming on this request. So, how people can touch base with you or with your team if they, let's say, as a builder, if they are interested to take any advice from you, or if they want to contribute to Sapien or otherwise.
Yeah, everything is my socials are at Trevor Koverko, just my name, pretty much everywhere. And then, but Sapien is at Play Sapien on X, and check out like a video game.sapien.io, and then everything else will onboard you from there.
Amazing. Thank you, Trevor, once again. That's all.